I do not, at this early stage, have a rock solid prediction about Bill Belichick and the Dallas Cowboys, or about any other coach at this time and the Dallas Cowboys. We've named 14 possible names. There may be more. The Jones would be wise to look around every corner and look under every rock. They haven't always done that in their searches for head coaches, but there are some misunderstandings about how the Jerry Jones process works, both in hiring a coach and then in working with one. And I'm going to take a few minutes this morning and try to fix that. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusty and trusted reporter. This is the Fishbowl, the Cowboys Inside the Star today, hurriedly putting together the plan to, no question about it, try to beat the Giants on Thursday. That's the job of the coaching staff, and that's the goal in the locker room. Along this path will come a coaching change, almost certainly. I'm already seeing stories pop up saying, did beating Washington save Mike McCarthy's job? You're joking, right? There might be a way to do it. There might be a way, but winning one game is in a crazy, fluky, funny, ugly, entertaining way. That ain't it. Bill Parcells is a candidate to be the next head coach here. He's on the list. The reason that I keep making sure that we have an understanding of at least that is I give you some of the background. I don't give you Jerry claiming that they're making it sound like they're best friends. That's really not true. I do tell you that starting about this time last year, in fact, when did the Cowboys play the Patriots? No, not last year, 2 years ago. Starting about that time, they started playing. Did I say Parcells again? It's Bell. I'm just going to say Bill from now on. They're not going to hire Bill Parcells. They're going to hire Bill Belichick, potentially. So Bill started playing footsie with this idea 2 years ago. And the way he did it, he didn't call Jerry and say, hey, when I'm done here in New England, I want to come work for you. It's more subtle than that. He tells his guys in the media and in the circle to plant seeds. And the next thing you know, there's a certain New York reporter that writes that he'd be perfect for the Cowboys. And there's a certain former NFL executive who now doing media, and he says it too. They don't say what Bill wants. They just say what just obviously makes sense. They never quote Bill. They just make it so obvious that he'd be the guy. Meanwhile, Jerry has done it publicly. We're good friends. I could really work with him. If it wasn't for Jerry, a really odd position to take, to publicly announce while you have a coach that you really like that coach over there. But Jerry's Jerry. This debate, and it is a debate for fans and media, and it should be. It's part of the fun. But this debate gets muddied when people pretend they know things they don't. I'm very clear on this. I am not pretending that I know that they're going to hire Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick. I did it. I'm not pretending I know that. I am telling you that these two parties have been flirting for 2 years. Number one. I am telling you that this organization doesn't need a creative offensive mind. They don't need a coach who's friends with the players. Dan Quinn is friends with the players. That's not what they need right now. A creative offensive mind would be great. That's not the number one need right now. The number one need here is for somebody who comes in the building and brings so much credibility, top to bottom, publicly, privately, in the media and in the locker room, that his presence simply can't be argued with. I don't need to get specific about this podcast or that tweet or that argument with the media. Just generally speaking, Bill Parcells or someone who's Parcellian, not dang it, Bill Belichick. I can't believe that I can't fix that. Belichick allowed the elbow room to be him, would walk through the door and be your best chance to change the culture. Your best chance to change the culture here isn't talking about it. They talk about it constantly here. And I'm not saying Belichick is going to walk out to Charlotte's front yard and start tearing down Tostitos ads. The marketing component isn't going away, but the circus can be moved over there. The clown show can be moved off to the side. Somebody with the authority to say, this is the way we're doing it. And I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Somebody to say, I'm not calling you in my office so we can have a man-to-man talk, player. I'm calling you into my office so we can have a boss-employee talk. So someone who is Belichick or Belichickian is that guy. And further, I would push, if the Joneses asked me, which they don't, that guy needs to be the vice president of football ops. So the building knows and the world knows he's not just the coach. Make him the vice president of football ops. And first of all, you put him right there on the same level with Stephen, with Stephen and Will. And secondly, you're sending a message, players, as they've been doing for 30 years here, you're not going around the coach. The coach is the vice president of football ops. You're going to the coach first, and you're never going to Jerry. That's out. So those are some facts about the way this can work. Now I take you to ESPN's debate program. How much do the first take combatants, Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe, know about the inner workings of Jerry Jones's Dallas Cowboys? The way they're doing this is whichever human megaphone is the loudest gets to win the argument. This is a national debate, and of course, they help make it a national debate. What else would they talk about if they didn't have the Cowboys to talk about? Would Bill Belichick be a good fit as an ex-Cowboys coach? This panel, I'm going to let you hear the audio here in a minute. This panel, by the way, it was Stephen A., Shannon Sharpe, and Stephen A. actually knows Jerry, kind of. He, spent an afternoon with him and flew on his helicopter and pretends to hate the Cowboys. Shannon Sharpe, he's a Hall of Fame player. He knows what a winning locker room looks like, inarguably. And then Teddy Bruschi is on this panel, who actually played for and won Super Bowls with Belichick. Sharpe's position against Belichick joining the Cowboys, as near as we can tell through all the yelling, is about Jerry wanting to be the dominant voice in the building. Stephen A.'s point, I have no idea. Teddy Bruschi's point, they didn't even let him talk. Let me see if I can dial this up and listen up. Okay. And on and on and on we go, just yelling at each other. Teddy Bruschi's sitting there and he's trying to talk. Teddy Bruschi, more than anybody at ESPN, can explain what it is Belichick does every day. And they wouldn't let him. Because Shannon, who's got an interesting point about one voice, I could dispute that. He's got to have his stage. It's funny that they're arguing about how Jerry's got to have the big word and the last word. And I'm watching this going, you mean he's like you guys? Oh boy, you guys didn't. Let me try that again. If that didn't come through, I'll try it again. The point that Stephen A is trying to make is completely lost. The point that Teddy is trying to make didn't get heard. And Shannon's got a point about one voice. Let me try this again one more time. I apologize.
Stephen A, can I ask you a question? Because you're trying to run out the clock. I get you. You made your point. You're trying to run out the clock. Do you like coming to work and having a headache every day you come to work? Excuse me? Stephen A, do you like coming to your job every day and having a headache? See, you talking about what you think you know. One voice, one sound. When you trying to win championships, you have one voice, one sound resonated. And you and I both know Bill Belichick is a bigger draw than Jerry Jones. That's why he has coaches that he can overshadow. He couldn't overshadow Jimmy. He couldn't overshadow Bill Parcells. He can't overshadow because those guys won before him. Your argument goes right out the window when you mention championship in the Cowboys. Now you know more football. Go ahead. Okay. Hold on. Come on, Shannon. I never said I know more football than you. Stop that. I've never said that. Teddy and I are trying to tell you, we're speaking from firsthand knowledge about guys with this type of personality. I get it. You love Jerry. There's a lot to love about it. But Teddy, can you please explain to this man, when you're trying to win championships, you need one voice talking for everybody. Not Jerry talking, not Bill talking, and then because they know this. Jerry is going to take care of the players.
Okay. So Shannon's point is, in part, you need one voice, and that's cool. His other point is that Jerry wants to be so dominant, and then he says, look at the examples of Jimmy and Parcells. And this is where I say, Shannon, you don't have any idea how this works. You have a general, obviously, and a very Hall of Fame level experience idea of how a building works in general. But you don't know anything about how this works. The classroom, the examples of Jimmy and Parcells being used as proof that it doesn't work is backwards. The fact that Jerry hired Jimmy and hired Parcells is proof that it can work with Belichick. Through all the yelling and all the insults. By the way, you know you're at the bottom of the argument. You know you're at the end when one of you says you don't know football. Shannon, nobody's saying, not even Stephen A. Smith is claiming that he knows more football than you. This isn't about knowing football. This is about understanding the inner workings of Jerry Jones's Dallas Cowboys. The example isn't that Jimmy quit or that Parcells retired. The example is Jerry hired them and worked with them. Sugar, why did they leave, Fish? Well, the breakup of Jimmy and Jerry has been well chronicled. And if you want to know what happened, you've come to the right place. Jimmy quit. If you look at Jimmy's track record, by the way, and that doesn't mean Jerry it doesn't mean Jerry couldn't have or shouldn't have found a way to say, you know what, Jimmy, you're so valuable here. And we want to win a third straight Super Bowl so badly. that I'm going to shut up for a year. Jerry could have done that, and they would have won a third straight Super Bowl. And if had Jerry shut up for one more year, Jimmy might have stayed on, and they might have won a fourth straight Super Bowl. Obviously, telling Jerry Jones, I'm going to shut up for 2 years is not realistic. So ultimately, and again, I'm doing this in 2 minutes when this is a 2-hour conversation about all what happened. Ultimately, Jimmy forgot that he works for Jerry. That's part of what happened. Should Jerry have swallowed his pride? 100%. And so should have Jimmy swallowed his pride. That's why they got a divorce, because neither one of them wanted to give up authority. Not just one of them, both of them. And ultimately, you decide for yourself who should win the argument, the boss or the employee. Which guy should bow to which guy, knowing what we know about both guys. I wish for you that they had found a way. By the way, I will tell you this. Jimmy did, and not everybody knows this, Jimmy did offer at one point in a conversation in that March at Valley Ranch, I'll stay for one more year. He did offer that. And Jerry said, I don't want you to stay. I don't want you to have a 1-year commitment. We got a 10-year contract here. I want you to coach the Dallas Cowboys. Danny Vestal, Jerry showed his true colors when he did Tom Landry the way he did. Jerry didn't do Tom Landry. That's false. Tom Landry was already done. Tom Landry was going to get fired, dismissed, retired, no matter what. Previous ownership was not fond of Tom Landry. And Tex Schramm was done with Tom Landry. Gary Eck helps me make this point, Uncle Fish Premium. The other reason that Jimmy left, and this is a very subtle one, is because he always does. And there's a certain brilliance in it. Look at Jimmy's coaching record. Once he got to be Jimmy, he always does. I'm not staying anywhere 10 years. That's part of this too. Jimmy and Jerry had enormous success, almost unprecedented success. And when we argue that Jerry won't hire a powerful coach and say that Jimmy's proof of that, we're doing it backwards. Now to Parcells. And I'm going to give you a handful of quotes on Parcells, who came here, of course. Again, this is a story behind the story. Jerry didn't just hire Parcells to turn the franchise around, to turn the team around, to improve the roster. There was also a stadium to be built. That's an important part of the story. So never, ever forget that Jerry is both a sportsman and a businessman. And that's the best example. Parcells, I liked my experience there. Jerry and I are pretty good friends. I'm close with Steven. I enjoyed working there. The perception of Jerry is distorted. He's a listener. He's a good businessman and a good listener. What you have to do is make sense to him. If you make sense to him, he listens to you. I enjoyed working with him. I like him. I like him a lot. This is Parcells on Jerry, who, by the way, has said he has some regrets about retiring after 4 years. He kind of wished he would have stayed on a little bit. He did his homework, Parcells did. He talked with Al Davis about Jerry and admires the passion that Jerry has for this organization. He said, Parcells said, I could name some teams in the NFL, the owner doesn't really care. Jerry isn't like that. I like the passion. It's a good group. They're trying to be successful. That's all a coach can ask for. Now, this is Parcells' endorsement of Jerry that somehow nobody knows about. When Belichick is looking, I saw somebody in the media who I respect, can't remember who it was, say, before Parcells takes this job, before Belichick takes this job, he better talk with Parcells. You don't think he's already done that? Of course he's done that. He's been doing that for 2 years. Otis, Jerry saying nobody could do a better job was telling. No, it wasn't. That's nonsense. He knows that. Jerry's talking about the advantages to the owner being the general manager is about streamlined decisions and risk taking. But listen, if we haven't learned anything in 35 years about Jerry Jones, let's learn this. You cannot always put stock in his colorful quotes. We've learned that, right? There's a between the lines to be read. Jerry's view of what a general manager is different than yours and mine. Jerry Jones's version of how to be a general manager, he's right there. Nobody could do what he does like he does it. The issue is maybe the Cowboys should be doing it in a different way. So understand, through all the yelling and the screaming, the Belichick and Jerry idea is real, or it wouldn't have gone this far. They wouldn't have let it go this far. Rick C., Uncle Fish Premium. If Jerry had stayed off the camera, the narrative would be better off, Fish. Agreed. And I've proposed, dead serious, in a dream world, what would happen if Jerry just moved into the marketing department for 3 years and got out of the football? Or what if the Cowboys, unrealistically, what if the Cowboys got out of the marketing business altogether and everybody just poured their effort into football? The football team would be better off. Kenneth Easley, $5 pitch in. Uncle Fish, sidebar, did the Cowboys have a Cavante Turpin problem this offseason? In terms of free agency, yeah, he's on the list of free agents. Do they want him back? Of course they do. Will he feel some obligation to the team that gave him a chance? Maybe a little bit. Scott McLean, welcome to the Uncle Fish Premium level. The Belichick idea is real, or it wouldn't have gone this far. And Jerry's hiring of Jimmy is just as important as Jimmy quitting. Jerry's hiring of Parcells is just as important as Parcells retiring. You can be anti-Jerry all you want. Have at it. There's plenty to be anti-Jerry about. But you can't use his two greatest hires against him. That's not even fair. A lot of questions about Ben Johnson. Never been a head coach before. Certainly should get hired. One of the things that the Cowboys, I hope they're wise enough to do, they haven't done this much in their hiring process. They shouldn't interview 3 guys. They should interview all the guys. And just like in business, sometimes you interview people that you aren't really going to hire just because you want to hear their opinion of what they would do with your defense or what they would do with the building. Hey, what do you think of Dak? I want to hire Ben Johnson, not necessarily. I want to interview Ben Johnson, not necessarily because I want to hire him. Maybe. I want to interview Ben Johnson because I want to ask him what he thinks of Dak. And I'm going to do that right down the line. I'm going to do that with 15 guys if it's me. Interestingly, we've suggested hire Belichick and Jason Witten. And a few of you have pointed out, as long as Belichick doesn't get to just pick his friend to be the offensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, who's never been an offensive coordinator before, then the offense can be fine. The Cowboys don't need offensive innovation as much as they need a powerful leadership disciplinarian whose sheer presence changes the culture. And there's nobody that does that like Bill Belichick. Fish out.